We got to digest this news here. We just mentioned two banks making moves in crypto. When specifically looking at Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, how significant is it to introduce that type of platform next year?
Oh, I think it's huge. The criticism of Bitcoin is that it's a slow network. It's kind of, we can think about it as nobody has an incentive to put so much resources into speeding it up. The fact that Japan's biggest bank is actually doing this, to me, is quite amazing. It's like they've got to get this up to 1 million transactions per second in the same way that the credit card networks. You can see that when Mitsubishi is getting involved.
So we have not just Mitsubishi, but also Bank of America, as we mentioned.
It's unbelievable.
Two banks recently announcing plans to incorporate and leverage blockchain technology. Not the only two, of course.
And Brad, you said it's not surprising Bank of America is getting involved. I think it's completely surprising. It's called the Walmart of banks is getting involved with blockchain technology. I think that's huge. A few years ago, it would have been considered laughable. Why would such a big behemoth be getting involved with blockchain? But it's really showing how mainstream this technology is. And as you mentioned, privacy. We've got the public blockchains associated with Bitcoin, but all these private ledgers, this is really important to see, to me at least, to see the mainstream Walmarts of banks getting involved.
So I'll clarify. I'll say not surprising, and here's why. Because when you have some of the other major financial institutions, not even just exchanges, but also some of the players like American Express, like Citi, putting together some of these collaborations with other entities, it was only a matter of time.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right?
It's great. And then, we all laugh at Jamie Dimon making fun of it.
Yeah.
But, of course, they're one of the big investors in Ethereum. So at this point, it's like, all right, every single player is involved. And focusing on that privacy to make sure mainstream financial intermediaries can actually do it. It's great.
Well, so to that end, which bank, which financial institution do you consider a leader in this space right now?
Oh, I mean, speaking of JP Morgan, I mean, all of their smart contract platforms that they're developing, Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation also at the forefront of some of these smart contract technologies. So really kind of pushing these things to the next level to help firms right here on Wall Street be making it happen. So to me, the Bitcoin was just so great but rudimentary, and really seeing huge amounts of investments to help speed it up, help make it come to that next level.
And when we talk about the regulatory environment, which we cannot ignore, of course, there's been a little bit more scrutiny on ICOs. In particular, a recent Wall Street Journal report saying that of the 1,400 offerings studied, 271 of those ICOs had a red flag. So in the early stages of regulation, before there's really a lot of regulation in place, how do you sort of see these companies and these currencies sort of trying to tackle this?
Only 261? I mean, my friend, he's in this space, an investor, he said, look, almost all of them are horrible, or they're going to blow up, or they're going to be scams. But he says he's all in, and I'm not giving investment advice, obviously. But we can look at Silicon Valley. 90% of firms, startups in Silicon Valley fail, and that's okay. I'm glad that I've invested in Silicon Valley. And I think the same thing is likely to happen. A lot of these things are just poorly thought, half-baked ideas, in many cases, huge red flags, like, stay away, don't get involved. But doesn't mean the government should clamp down on that. I think we're in the Wild West stage of this market, but a lot of investors have to weigh that and figure out, all right, there's a chance that I'm going to lose everything, but some of these things I think are going to actually have payouts in the end. Of course, maybe not a good investment, though.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for breaking all of that down for us. Appreciate your enthusiasm, and thank you for being here today. That was Edward Stringham, president of American Institute for Economic Research.